and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell and Rowan, Cousin Rowan.
Hey, welcome to the show again, Cousin Rowan.
Thank you. It's good to be back, and I must say that the last time I was on, which was the first time I'd ever been on, is the weirdest thing to get welcome to something when you've been talking to people for like the last hour.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you get in front of a mic and you go, "Hey, how's it going?" Like,
yeah.
Oh, you need to forget all those conversations.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
It's really weird. That was for the facade.
Yeah.
Podcast magic.
Well, and you know, if you want to be invited on the show, it takes 56 consecutive weeks of emailing.
Yeah, yes.
And we'll allow you on.
Yes.
About 20 billboards.
And about 20 billboards.
20 billboards, 2 donations to charities.
Yes.
And a couple of dinners.
Yeah, a couple of dinners doesn't hurt. Up the top, we should say thank you. You actually brought a gift with you this time.
Yes.
You had brought us a Reddit on Reddit version of the shredded Banksy canvas in its own little frame. So thank you very much. We're going to hang it up somewhere in here. We don't have a lot of art on the wall, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I kind of wish that you had given it to us in the frame that was going to shred at some point. So,
If we ever try and sell it.
Yeah. If anything, I'm a little bit disappointed that you didn't go to the extent of putting the mechanics inside and hanging it on the wall. I'd like that just one day it happens like at 2 a.m. in the morning, we're both asleep and just hear this. It's like, that's actually pretty good. All right.
Well, my budget was $10.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's what
I do enjoy the rare occasion that someone makes something for the show. It's never what I expect.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we got a gift, it was our own pillows.
Oh, yeah, that was Amanda, wasn't it?
Amanda, yeah. She'd sewn us our own Reddit pillows from scratch. Like, I just never would have expected it, then I never would have expected a Banksy canvas.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for somebody to send in like a personalized car. I mean,
that'd be good.
Just for any suggestions.
Maybe a Tesla.
If a Tesla would be great. Reddit on Reddit themed.
Yeah.
Don't go too much effort with the theme.
Just black.
Just black.
Yeah. All black.
That could be pretty good.
Yeah.
So have either of you been doing anything interesting this week?
Did you say borderline illegal?
Yes.
No, this actually isn't illegal. This is completely legal, but it's a loophole I've discovered.
Okay.
I've been exploiting the company Amazon this week.
Right.
So
stick it to the man. They're one of the big guys. Take them down, I say.
This is why I don't feel bad about this. And I
Okay.
will openly tell everyone what I was doing.
Yep.
But I think I've been caught. I'll also preface it with that. So I'm a big fan of audiobooks. Like, I listen to a lot of audiobooks at work and stuff. And I used to have a subscription to Audible. And then they kept advertising the 30-day free trial if I sign up again.
Oh, yeah.
But their hook this time was like, if you don't like a book, just return it. Don't worry. Like, it's all good.
Oh.
So I signed up and you get a free credit.
Yeah.
So I was just using the credit, downloading a book to my computer, putting on a hard drive, then returning it and downloading a book.
Oh.
I got 12 books in.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
In the space of about 4 days. And then the last book, all of a sudden, this little message pops up saying, "We are unable to return this book. If you would like to, please contact the Audible team." I'm like, no. I don't want him to look at my history.
I know where that conversation is going to go.
They're like, so we know what you're doing.
I've got a hack for you. Actually, which is similar. I'm a big Audible fan, and I did return some books actually, but quite legitimately in the sense that I'd start listening to them and go, don't like it, and I did when they introduced that feature.
You don't have to sell the lie to us. It's
fine. And you do if they block it, then you just ring them up and they just do it over the phone.
Really?
Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they might get like cotton onto you.
Yeah, there was just a lot of books in a very short amount of time that I was returning for other reason.
Yeah. Reason exploiting your business model.
You just needed to read a little bit of the blurb and then say that you disagree with a point that you learned from the blurb that they're like, oh, well, that's just a point in the story or in the novel so this seems like a legitimate reason.
So for instance, one of the ones I got was The Great Gatsby. So I could return being like, he wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, he seemed like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
What about I think didn't like narrator. And you could have say it was like Nelson Mandela reads his own biography. You're like, didn't like narrator. You don't like Nelson Mandela?
I could do it.
What the hell's wrong with you?
The version of The Great Gatsby I got is narrated by Jake Gyllenhaal. But I could say, you know what? I didn't care for him in the movie Brothers. So why would I listen to him read this book? It's disappointing.
It wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio. I want my money back.
I saw Prince of Persia and it left a lot to be desired. I don't think he'll be reading Great Gatsby to me.
So the hack for Audible is if you go to cancel your membership, they'll offer you something normally. So I've done it a few times, and you can always resume your membership anyway, but often they'll go, we'll give you 3 months of half-price books. So your credit that's normally $15-16 a month will be $8.
Interesting.
So you've got to go through the cancellation steps almost to the end. And you do retain your books if you cancel your membership.
Yeah, no, I still have all my books from last time I was lined up with them as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because I think the thing is, like, you need to return them within a year. Some of my other ones were too old. I would have been on a returning frenzy. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would have returned everything. But I just have a habit. I also download everything like offline and save it as well, just in case.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
The apocalypse, you're ready.
I'm paranoid that way. Yeah.
When there's like zombie apocalypse, you'll be like, has anyone read, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
My experience with Audible is one day I was like, oh, hey, I'm getting charged for Audible. Turns out I'd had a subscription for like 8 months.
Wow.
And
Did you have all the credits?
I like, to credit to them,
Right.
I did have everything there that I paid for. So I went in, I went to cancel the account, and they were like, oh, you still got credits. So I was like, okay. So I just bought a bunch of books and then canceled the account. But I'm probably not going to get back to them.
No.
But I still feel like it's... it's a good thing they've done. I feel like this day and age, the new like service is kind of just like
Cancel anytime.
Cancel every time. It's like there's no restrictions to anything, so you can't ever get angry at this company for like, oh, I spent money on this, and I didn't like it or whatever. And in the past, that was always like, well, too bad.
Yeah.
That's the service that you signed up for. This is what you get. But I reckon these days you can just sort of return everything, and it just goes on this like sort of semi-honesty system, like who's really going to return it. Like I hear ads on podcasts for there's like a mattress, and it's meant to be super fancy mattress, and they're like, oh, it's a 60-day money back guarantee. If you don't like it, just send it back.
Isn't it?
It's like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's a long time, and it's like, yeah, but who's ever gonna do? Even if I wasn't satisfied with it, I'm like, ugh, the effort that I have to go through just to return this, like, whatever. But you can't get angry at the company. It's like, well, they've given me the opportunity to, but
they've been nothing but fair.
I was looking at a gym membership recently, and I thought maybe I could just do 7-day free trials.
Yeah,
at like 20 different gyms.
I know someone that's doing this currently.
Right.
And so where they live and where they work is quite a distance. So they've been slowly filling in all the gyms along the way to their work. So they started close to their house and were doing free trials. Something down the road, something the next road over, and then slowly they're just making their way to work. Which I think they're on gym number like 12.
Yeah,
so they're getting 12 weeks of free fitness essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I think you could do it. Even the F45 gyms.
Yeah,
every one of them offers a 7-day free trial, and there's so many of them now.
Yeah,
I think you could get almost a whole year out of that. I reckon.
Yeah,
before you had to loop back around.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's the loopholes to getting stuff.
Yeah.
That's what this show's about.
Yep.
But also it's about Reddit.
Oh, okay, let's get into it.
Let's get into Reddit. This first Reddit on Reddit is by X Silent Echoes. X. Couldn't just get Silent Echoes, I guess. And this was a picture, and it was a picture of the maple leaf, the Canadian symbol.
Yep.
And around it was a lot of marijuana.
Oh, marijuana.
Yes, leaves. And it said at the top, congratulations to drugs for winning the war on drugs. I thought it was pretty good. It's been a pretty long battle. Mm-hmm. Somebody had to win eventually.
It's true.
My money was on the drugs from the get-go, really. But what do you think of this?
So this is in reference to Canada legalizing marijuana.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, who cares?
You know what I thought was really cool about it? I did see a similar post which was about it, and it said about how they've pardoned everyone that's had a minor charge of marijuana. Past as well, so it's not just
classic Canadian politeness.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think
sorry about that.
Who fill our prisons, and I mean, imagine having a criminal record for something so minor.
Yeah.
So I think
It was
that
like
pretty
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, that's right, and it was it was a huge amount of people, and there was a $630 charge, I think, to theoretically each of these individuals, which would have, I think it was like 500,000 people or something crazy. It was like just a ton of people, or at least maybe charges. I suppose some people could have multiple or something.
Yeah.
But if those people were meant to pay that amount of money as part part kind of system, that's like a lot of money that they're foregoing in just
but surely,
revenue essentially.
Like, are they going to, like, the sale of marijuana now?
Oh yeah, that would probably.
Yeah, surely they'll have their hands in that.
Well,
somehow.
they'll tax it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
It's already taxed, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea as well, and I think it's funny the history of marijuana. How
you stoner. You think everything's funny, don't you?
I get high all the time on life.
And the weed.
And weed.
Yeah.
All the weed. No, well, like, as somebody who doesn't really do it that much, I still think it's a great idea to legalize it. It seems so weird. Like, if you look at, like, the history of weed and how it was outlawed, and especially Nixon used it a lot
time.
in his campaign, which was just... And it was around the time of, like... studies coming out being like, oh, you know what? Marijuana's actually...
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Fine. Like, there's actually benefits to this.
Yeah, they essentially, like, weaponized it. Not the drug itself, but the idea of marijuana. They, like, weaponized it to get him re-elected, I think. Or was it elected for the first time? It was in his campaign.
Yeah.
Either way.
Is something like that. But yeah, and I thought that was really interesting that marijuana really for a long time has been illegal as or illegal for longer than it should has, more for a political like stunt than the dangers of the drug itself.
Yeah.
Well, the idea of controlling substances too, like it sort of can take the criminal element out of those things, like, and I think, it's interesting to think about what that actually does. And the flip side of that too, or in a similar way, is what, you look at alcohol and the stats around alcohol and what that does, around violent crime, people bashing people at pubs and all that sort of stuff. There's not a lot of stoners.
Yeah.
They're like fighting over the last donut.
Yeah, that's right.
I need that 12 Krispy Kremes. Give me those.
Yeah. And it's the guy that's the least stoned that ends up having enough energy to take the donut off the plate.
I always wonder this, right? Because like I don't smoke weed, and if they made it legal, I still wouldn't smoke weed. Like I'm not doing it because it's illegal. But do you think there's people that are smoking weed because it's cool, and now that it's being taxed by the government and supplementing some government income, that's less cool?
Okay, straight to heroin.
So someone's doing, I almost said doing weed. Someone's smoking weed, and you can be like, oh, I didn't realize you love the government so much. It's like, oh, don't, shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon it's...
That's the ability to make it not cool.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not sticking it to the man anymore. You're giving money to the man.
That's true. But I think for a long while, like, marijuana has been less about sticking it to the man. I think in the 60s and everything, that's like all it was about.
Bloody
yeah. But, I think for a long time it's been just seen as like, in my mind, it's just not even illegal anymore. Yeah. So many people do it, and I think of even guys like Seth Rogen and stuff, which I feel
he'll be happy. He's a Canadian.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Someone check if he's alive.
Yeah, actually,
he's on. There was a video of him with a what is it, like a water gravity
anti-gravity bong.
I think it's
gravity bong.
Yeah. And can you imagine how serious some of these people are about getting high? Like if they channeled that energy into curing cancer or something, it'd be done overnight. But instead, they're like, how do I make sure that I can just force this into my lungs? At the greatest amount of pressure, as opposed to doing something useful. But yes, I think he's very excited.
That's true
about it.
And on the reverse side, I think we'd be better off smoking marijuana than doing the podcast. It's kind of just like a...
Because then, if we just smoked marijuana and didn't do this podcast, we'd only be affecting us. But right now, we're affecting others.
Yeah, the damage you are doing.
With the podcast.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, I think it's. I've always been interested in the idea that marijuana, because I don't really.
I bet you have your bloody stoner.
But it's like very much for creative people, right?
Sure.
It's so much more in a creative world, and it makes me think. I'm more interested to do smoke marijuana based on the idea that if other creative people, and I know Dan Harmon swings a lot as well, who I listened to his podcast quite a bit recently. I'm like interested to know what it would do to my creativity if I was to, I don't know, smoke a lot.
Right.
Probably make you a bit lazier.
Yeah, and I'm already
you can't go much further.
Yeah, that's right.
I did watch a doco on Netflix, Take Your Pills, it was called, and it was about Adderall, I think, and treating people with ADD, and just about how people would take, like everyone was taking it for this laser sort of focus that it can give them.
Yeah.
But there was other people who were taking, for a similar purpose, microdosing LSD and magic mushrooms. And the idea is apparently that if you take such a small amount, it can actually help you focus as opposed to have the psychedelic effects. Yeah, which was quite interesting.
That's what I'd tell people too.
Yeah.
Right.
My mum and dad bust in on me while I'm mixing mushrooms and LSD. Oh no, it's for focus.
It helps me focus. Why is there an octopus on your head?
Cool. Well, I think we should move on to Today I Learned. So now it's time for Today I Learned. What's the intro to that? Today I Learned. This Today I Learned is by Flipside. Today I learned Robert Rodriguez and John Malkovich made a film that will not come out until 97 years from now. The film is being kept in a high-tech safe behind bulletproof glass that will open automatically on 18th of November, 2115, the day of the film's premiere.
Yeah. Do you want me to ruin this for you a bit?
Yes.
It's kind of an ad.
Oh.
So it's by I might get some facts slightly wrong. I only know a little bit about it, but it was produced by I want to say a cognac company, and their whole thing is that their cognac is aged 100 years.
Oh,
so they produced this film with them. The film's called 100 Years.
Okay,
and then the film will age for 100 years, and I think it's actually stored with a bottle of the cognac as well.
Right, I see.
So it's kind of an ad.
It's guerrilla marketing. Sort
of thing, kind of.
Yeah.
And I give credit to it that it's a cool idea, and at least you're creating some kind of art. Though I kind of think it'd be funny if the movie's really bad.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of imagining. Like 100 years from now.
Yeah, I've seen films 100 years ago. They're shit.
I know, they're so rubbish.
Did you see that first Ned Kelly movie they made?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure The Matrix isn't going to hold up.
No,
the first one might.
We saw bits of the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire not that long ago. That doesn't hold up.
That does not hold up at all.
Don't give that 100 years.
But at the time, it was great. Everybody loved that,
and especially. This movie is a sci-fi movie. They're the ones that don't hold up the most.
In the future, because you're like, this isn't the future.
Yeah, maybe like a Ben-Hur or something like that is a historical epic. You can see that it's a little bit ageless for that reason. Sci-fi dates so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, look at Logan's Run, the most 70s sci-fi in the world. Everyone's wearing like the grey jumpsuits with the little stripes, and everyone's got like the bob cut from the 70s.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what about like on the Banksy theme? Maybe after 100 years, the vault opens, but then the film incinerates. Sort of
that would be a good. I'd
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
So like, no one will see it.
No, I think the thing is, in 100 years' time, nobody's going to know that this exists or cares enough about, I think it just totally fizzle out.
That's the thing. I think they are really overestimating the star power of John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Like, if it was, I don't know, George Clooney, maybe in 100 years, maybe you'd be like, oh, yeah, he was a film star, right?
Yeah.
But you'd be like, do you remember John Malkovich? And everyone like, no.
It's an exaggerated Russian accent in
Rounders.
Yeah, in Rounders. Yeah, that guy.
They're really banking on being John Malkovich as a timeless classic. I
couldn't get through that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, 5 minutes into that.
Do you know what's funny? I actually did watch that film. I quite liked it.
I quite like it too, yeah.
But I don't know if I could go back and watch it.
And you wouldn't watch it 100 years from now.
I definitely wouldn't. Not even.
And maybe I wasn't in the mood for it because it's a bit art housey, right?
It is.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
Pretty weird.
You have to be really like. I remember a film that you might be able to help me with the title. It's like Tree of Life. Actually, I think it's called Tree of Life.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
Brad Pitt?
it's funny, right? Because it's Brad Pitt. That's all I got. Cambo, what
Sean
else?
Penn,
Yeah.
Jessica Chastain, directed by Terrence Malick.
What
Yep.
year?
Like 2009-ish.
Yeah, he can
We'll
say
Google that
anything at this
afterwards.
point.
Yeah.
But no Googling in the show. So,
Yeah, that's true.
I think what's really funny about that is we were at the cinemas at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, you were. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was like an advanced screening for the staff, and they did 2 advanced screenings, and I was in the second one.
Sure.
And so I spoke to the people who came out of the first one,
right.
and they were like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
that was the worst thing ever." And they talked about how it was just like art house bullcrap. So
Yeah.
I went in there really prepared, and I quite enjoyed it when I left.
Well, yeah, okay. So it's all about, I guess, what you expect of it. And if you know Terrence Malick, his style is very light on plot, heavy on visuals, kind of cerebral. And this one in particular was all about life and death. And it kind of has a story of Brad Pitt and his kids in the 50s, and then Sean Penn when he's older, being a depressed businessman, intercut with like the beginning of the Earth and the cosmos and the dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
It's beautiful to look at. It's a really beautifully shot film, but it's just tangential and it doesn't really have a narrative or anything like that in a traditional sense. And what was funny about that is because I know a little bit about Terrence Malick, but that was like the first one I'd seen in the cinema. I'd seen him on DVD before, and you can kind of fast forward and stuff. I don't really like him as a filmmaker, but they had put together this committee that was the local area marketing team, and they were like, so what we're going to do, we're going to give you guys a film, and you'll think up ideas on how to market it. And then the first film they showed us was Tree of Life, which is the hardest film I know. Like, I don't really know how to explain it to people, let alone how do you sell that out?
Easy.
You know?
You just go, it's got Brad Pitt in it.
Yeah, well, I
Brad
think
Pitt's latest film.
I think that film we wouldn't have even seen it if it didn't have Brad Pitt in it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's what producers are for. They're like, wow, this is a piece of shit. I need to get a really big actor onto this.
But here's the thing, though. Like, Terrence Malick always gets these really big casts, but I'm sure there's a lot of films of his with a really big cast that you've never heard of. There's a movie he did a couple of years ago called Song to Song, and it had Christian Bale, it had Ryan Gosling, like it had a Michael Fassbender was in it.
Oh, yeah, I
it
saw
had a
that.
huge
Natalie
cast. Natalie Portman was in it.
Yeah.
Yep. It had a huge cast. Actually, I think Ryan Gosling was in his next one. But they're just now too weird, because apparently that was even more weird than Tree of Life.
Really? Okay.
The trailer looked cool for that. I didn't see the movie. but the
Again,
trailer looked
visually
cool.
they're beautiful. They're really well shot.
Yeah.
But they're just not marketable in any kind of like traditional movie sense.
I've got a left field one for you. I watched a video recently, and it was on YouTube. It was like 20 minutes, and it was just explaining or trying to explain Dead Man with
Right,
Johnny Depp,
yeah.
which is a Jim Jarmusch film.
Yeah.
I don't know if you will have seen it, Nelson, but I imagine you would have. 'cause
No,
of your
yeah, I've
film
never
school
seen
stuff,
it.
but- oh, haven't you?
No, I've
Black
never
and
seen it.
white.
It's the only film.
It's black and white.
That's my one. It's my
Johnny Depp.
Moby Dick.
Yeah, it's Johnny Depp, but it's not a Johnny Depp kind of film, and it's all about.
Jim Jarmusch films are very uniquely Jim Jarmusch.
It's very weird, and I watched this 20-minute video on YouTube just trying to explain it.
Oh, really?
But I really liked it, but I don't know why. It's one of those movies you watch it, and it's because it's more
Yeah.
about purgatory and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's like a Wild West, but
Right.
he's supposed to be in purgatory.
Yeah.
So it's all this kind of undertones of things and all the the visuals and stuff. But it's so hard to understand. But there's just something about it. I really like it.
I think that it is like probably why I liked Tree of Life, because I think there are some films where if you go in and you really try to think about what the film's trying to say more than just watching it for a film, it makes it way more interesting. And I reckon that's why if I had been in that first group of people, I probably would have hated it just as much. But I went into it like, okay, I'm going to really have to
And I
into this.
think, look, to the film's credit, I think it was an uphill battle for me particularly, because also in my mind, I'm also thinking, how am I going to market this? Every new weird thing, I'm like, oh my god, it's another obstacle.
now. What is this?
It was like a prank.
a little bit.
Yeah, I think. What was it? The other one? No,
Can't remember. Okay. But that wasn't the thing at all. Anyway.
The movie is called 100 Years. It's produced by a company.
And it's going to incinerate itself in 100 years.
Yeah. Cambo ruined it. Okay. Well. Okay. Then Cambo, Mr. Smarty Pants, I do everything.
Yep.
If you didn't like the idea of it being a sci-fi film, what film do you think 100 years from now I'm definitely gonna watch that?
100 years from now, probably Signs.
No.
Trick question. Anderson's video.
Trick question. Yeah, it was porn. It was.
Yeah. I would watch porn from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, just like, I wonder if it's still the same.
Whatever.
Yep, still the same.
Like 2 Girls, 1 Cup will be pretty tame, presumably by then. It'll be like, this was the shock. Like, you know when you read
G-rated. It's G-rated.
You know when you read Catcher in the Rye now? And you're like, this was the controversial book. He just says darn a bit and doesn't like his parents much. Yeah. That will be, I'm interested.
Okay. All right. Here's another one for you. This is by Linear Duck. Today I learned that in 2013, Margaret Arobio bought a Powerball ticket for a $360 million jackpot that matched all winning numbers. The next day, she saw the media report that nobody had won, so she called the store that had sold her the ticket and found out she bought it an hour after the numbers were drawn. And so
did she, though? If I was running that tax office, I'd be like, oh, yeah, no, they are. You're right, they are the matching numbers. What's the time on that? Oh, we did it an hour before. Yeah, so you've missed out on that $1 million.
Wait. So you think that there's the companies trying to defraud her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, likely, because if you've got a few million, you want to hold on to it, I guess.
Exactly.
But I think I was thinking more the opposite way.
Okay.
Where it's one of those things where you're like, if anybody asks, I'm going to plead ignorance. And so she went in, was like, I know the numbers, picks all the right ones, and then tells this elaborate story to all her friends.
Oh my God, yeah, the numbers matched.
I got all the numbers and, I bought it at the wrong, after the time. I reckon it's a scam.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it could be. It could be she's trying to do a worse version of my Audible scam.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'd be like let's say, Nelson, you bought a ticket.
Yeah.
And you're the winner.
Yeah.
And you've gone, Cambo, I've just won, $300 million. And your first question is, who have you told?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'd get a bit.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, knock it off. Where's Nelson gone? No, he just moved out one day. Never seen him again, but I'm rich now.
Yeah, that's it. By the way, on another unrelated story, I've got $300 million.
Yeah, that's right.
The weirdest thing.
Yeah, that's true. How would you manage if you won the lottery? Mm-hmm. How do you think you'd deal with telling people? Cambo, I definitely wouldn't tell you until I had told many more people. I just don't trust you enough.
Who is above me on the list? I mean, I guess these are just people that other people won't know. But how many people are above me on the list? Because presumably you would see me very soon after.
Yeah, you'd probably be the first person I see.
Yeah, and you'd be in a real good mood. I'm like, you look happy, Nelson. Then you have to be like, no, I'm not.
I'd say, I'm moving out. Pack your things. I don't know why you're packing things. I would say, pack my things.
Well, if you moved out,
I'll pay you.
If you moved out, bought a mansion, would you take him with you? Housemates to the end?
True.
Or?
Ride or die.
Well, we have to do the podcast, and I don't want to go anywhere. So probably.
At least. I can be in a granny flat on the property or something, and then you can just call me, ring a bell. When it's podcast time, and
I wouldn't waste energy on ringing a bell. I would get Jives to come get you.
Could you do me a favor though? If you do win Lotto,
yes,
buy more comfortable chairs.
Oh, okay.
I think we got the most comfortable chairs you can possibly get.
Yeah. These are very.
Speaking of scamming, we scammed these chairs.
Oh yeah, we did too.
Yeah, so we were buying these chairs, and we were willing, Rowan. Let me tell you, we were willing to spend $8 a pop because that was the market value.
Can you believe it?
So we thought, all right, let's get 4 of them. Scan them through. And he bloody came up 50 cents each.
Wow.
So then you do that thing where you hurriedly keep scanning before anyone comes over to notice.
I did the same thing. Shower curtain, $12. Scanned as $1.
Yeah,
Mine,
exactly.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Look out. So now I've got a shower curtain I don't need. One shower.
That's how they get you.
It's in the drawer. It's in the drawer.
So just know that you're getting $8 of comfort for only 50 cents.
Wow. That is me. Either way.
Probably feels like 50 cents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd rather sit on a 50-cent piece on the floor. I think it'd probably be more comfortable.
Yeah, that's right. No, do you know what? I'd be inclined to, and I know maybe many people say this, but if I won the lottery, I think I would try my hardest not to tell anyone. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. I wouldn't go to work.
Yeah.
But I would pretend that I got another job.
Right.
And
you would need to tell like a significant other. Like if you had a wife. Yeah. You would need to tell. Sure,
would you rent the apartment next door and just say to Cambo, I'm off to work, and then you just go to the next apartment, and then just sit in there all day and then come back?
Yeah, I think something like that. No, I wouldn't pretend to go. Maybe I'd be like, oh, I got some job online. I can work from home, mm-hmm. which would be awkward if you had a day off.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the computer pretending. I'd just have like an Excel spreadsheet open, obviously.
Just with your money, like all your monetary amounts, all your account details.
Yeah. I'm just working out my budget.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is only ever spending money.
It just always has this Excel spreadsheet saying, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're all good.
Yeah. Oh, let me just check my money. Yeah, I'm still good. Okay. No, the problem in Australia is you can't even get jackpots that are big enough. It's like what, like biggest is like 20 million or something like that.
Splitting it.
Yeah,
with like 20 people.
Exactly. It's not even worth it.
What do you do with $1 million?
One paltry million.
Exactly. I would be really disappointed if I won $1 million because I'd be like, this was like not even. It's between having enough to not having to do anything for the rest of your life, but just enough to be like, well, I'm still going to have to go to work because...
Yeah, but that's a free house.
Yeah. It's a nice house.
Yeah, that's true.
It's 2 million of these chairs.
It's 2 million of these chairs.
That's not bad. You can sell them for $8.
Oh, Jesus. Oh. Then we're $8 million.
Think about this. Oh, my God. Okay, I've changed my mind.
Yeah, that'll be the shower curtains.
Yeah. Maybe that should be our Patreon thing. Donate money, we'll buy chairs
and resell them at a profit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll need to sell them for $7, otherwise people will go to Kmart.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They're probably got a return policy.
And they'll realise that they scan at 50 cents a Kmart, and so we're really scamming them, $6.50. Anyway. Yeah, I like the idea. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you now would accept $1 million if you wanted.
Yeah, for the chair scheme. I think it's a good idea.
Boys, I've got a scam and it's foolproof. All I need is $1 million.
All right. I say let's move on to shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by Resting Bitface.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Sometimes in order to get good at something you enjoy, you have to practice so much that you don't enjoy it as much anymore. I stumbled over that.
Yeah, I understand the concept.
Okay.
The idea is, you say you like playing, I don't know, Overcooked 2, for an example.
Okay.
A game.
That was a strange example, but let's go with it.
A game that we've played together, and you're like, I really like it, I'm going to get better at it, and you would have to play it so much that you wouldn't enjoy it anymore.
Yes.
I think I know us pretty well. We just stop. Like,
well, I think that's the point.
Yeah.
I think that's like...
but that means you don't really enjoy it, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know.
What about Dota?
Yeah, okay. Dota's a good example because I've played.
I think
a ton
Overcooked
of
2
that.
was a good example, actually, Nelson. I think you'll find.
No, it's pretty rubbish. But you don't know games very well, so for you that was very well done, Cambo.
I don't know either of them, for the record. I just know you like Dota.
Yeah.
Is it an acronym? I don't even know.
It is. It's called Defense
of the Ancients. I knew this one. I know games.
Cambo's got it.
2.
Oh, yeah. See, you even know this quotation. Yeah, that game, okay. That game I do have a love-hate relationship with. I think it's more because of the people online that are assholes
You-
all the
what?
time. Yep, definitely is never my fault, by the way.
in the online gaming community.
Yeah,
You surprise me.
believe it or not. Believe it or not.
So the good ones have just gone to Reddit.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
No.
But yeah, I think that's if I really wanted to try and get a lot better at that game, I think I would struggle. In fact, there have been pros that say that they kind of just burn out after a while because, especially in video games, where instead of something like tennis or basketball, where you sort of to practice properly, you can only do X amount a day before either you're just too tired or it requires more resources. You need like a place to do it consistently, and really practicing is only so good if you need to play a lot of games to get even better. And but with video games, it's like you can play pretty much 24/7, and so the pros are playing like 14-hour days, even longer sometimes, like 16, 18 hours.
Korea or somewhere, I think they had like, it's almost like these places where you can go and literally just play 24 hours, like these games. And there was people that die, they have heart attacks and stuff sitting there because they just don't get up and move. Like people will sit there for 17 hours and they get blood clots, like deep vein thrombosis and stuff like that, and die because they're sitting there for so long. But
they just don't eat as well,
Yeah.
or go to the bathroom even. I think there's
it's horrible.
their body just shuts down because it's like not being used.
But it does remind me of, I think you mentioned it a long time ago on this podcast about golf, and I thought it was a great analogy, which is that the only reason like you want to get better at golf is to spend less time on the golf course. This game sucks. I've got to get better at it because which I thought was very accurate.
Yeah,
I've got a love-hate relationship with golf.
Yeah, exactly. And even for other things, like I've wanted to get good at programming, and I think that's kind of a similar concept. Like I like programming, but I want to get good, so I spend less time thinking about every single fucking line that like one line of code takes me like 20 minutes, and then it'll come up with an error, and I'm like, fuck this. I don't know. I thought it was a really good sentiment in a way that you do something you love too long and you end up.
Well, I think it's about plateaus too. Like there's like a learning curve where you kind of see benefit and you get momentum. I'm getting better at this. Like I play guitar badly, and but early on when you're learning, it's really hard. But then you start to get a few things together, and you can then you can start to play more songs, and you kind of go on this upward sort of trajectory. But then you sort of plateau. I think that's where the challenge is. It's like you need to kind of get onto those upward sort of things to be feeling good about it. And if you plateau for too long, or don't break the back of that learning curve, you just drop it. You just can't do it.
If you knew at what point you would get groupies, it might be easier to keep going, but
that's true.
It could be a long grind otherwise. Here's another one.
All right.
This is by Mystical Tugboat. Kanye West probably thinks he is a genius because he spends most of his time with the Kardashians. And Trump.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Did you see? We don't get overly political in this show, but did you see the footage of Kanye West with Donald Trump,
where he's like just talking him up, and
he's just talking about whatever? I've never seen Donald Trump look like the normal guy. Where he's like, he's like, I don't know what he's saying here. This is crazy.
It's sort of like he's just waiting to see which way it's going.
He
like,
really
I don't know if
is.
you're here to give me shit or if you're just trying to compliment
true,
me. I don't know, because he was talking about like how they were saying Donald Trump's party's racist, but he doesn't care. Do you think that affects me? It's like, where is this going? It's a weird thing that you're saying.
That's right. He said, people say, don't you care that he's racist? And he says, what? A white guy's going to tell me how I feel about racism or something along those lines.
Weird.
And I was like, I don't think you understand what racism is. Like, racism is never good. It's not something that you can sort of be opinionated about if it's definitely racism.
He's not trying to change your mind on racism.
Yeah.
He's assuming things about you based on your race. That's what it is. Yeah. That, just as an aside, what was that? Like, that's I've it's concerning some of the stuff that may happen, but that's the first time I'm like, they're in trouble. That this is an official meeting. and it is just off the rails.
Yeah.
The weird thing is the audio in that's really interesting, which I'm sure is common in these sorts of clips, but all you can hear is this clicking sound the whole time. And it's because there's like 40 photographers in the room just taking photos. It's just like, this is just ridiculous. Like they probably take, 2,000, 3,000 photos of a 5-minute meeting.
Yeah.
It's just bananas. But I mean, something's wrong when you've got that kind of interaction. That's a priority. Like I get busy at work. I work in an office environment. Sometimes I'm like, so damn busy. I just got no time. I'm in meetings all day and stuff. If my meetings start to be of that kind of caliber, I'll know that I'm not using my time very effectively. Like, I really should be upping the ante of the work that I'm doing. This isn't really good. Like
Trump's just like, this is the usual day in the office.
He's got his finger over the nuclear button. Should I push it? Should I not push it? It's time for my meeting with Kanye.
we again, just I guess while we're on this topic, I was having a discussion the other day about the idea of like deep fakes. Do you know what these are? It's a program called Fake App, and that uses machine learning of footage of people and photos of people, and it can swap faces onto other people.
Oh yes, I think I've seen it.
And it's unbelievably realistic, right?
Very realistic, and also Adobe have kind of got this beta program that if you have enough recording of someone, it can kind of pick up the cadences of their voices and stuff like that. Yep. And essentially, you can make people say whatever. And I think it was Vox uploaded an example of President Obama. Yeah, and he was swearing and all this kind of stuff, but it was completely fake. And I was just thinking, you actually don't need that with Donald Trump.
No, that's right.
Wait a minute, and you don't need him to say, "Oh, Kim Jong Il's an all right guy." I think he's fine. Yeah, like whatever.
Yeah. That's right. In fact, he could use it as his defense more than anything.
Like, look at I said this stuff. And it's very sensible.
Well, it's the stranger than fiction argument, isn't it? I mean, it's like that you couldn't make this stuff up.
Yeah,
how do you make this stuff up?
That's true.
I think, I don't know, just to make this more broadly about Trump.
Sure.
I think it's so. This just seems like such a bizarre period of time in like American history and in world history, because really America is like so important to the rest of the world, whether we like it or not, that it just seems like so bizarre that it's happening. I think we're gonna this is what they're gonna be looking back on in 100 years. This is what the movie should have been about. Is just you just record Trump's everyday life. They look back at it in 100 years and they're like, what?
Just that Kanye video. Just him and just like, just a 5-minute thing.
What it seems like, and this is an outside perspective, because I know we have quite a few American listeners. It seems like, because there's always been that thing, especially
I'm just going to cut you off real quick. I think that if we still have American listeners, they know that we're not pro-Trump or anything.
Your birthday card did have Trump on it, so I'm concerned, Nelson.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
But this is broadly insulting to America. I should.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like throughout the 50s and stuff, and like when they built New York in the 20s and whatnot, like they were like the powerhouse, and this reaction seems like a reflex to like globalization, meaning that America isn't as important anymore.
Yeah.
And like China, for example, and Russia, and they're all becoming quite powerful nations. And this seems like America being like, we used to be powerful. Yeah. Let's go back to that.
Well, it's anti-equality, isn't it? I mean, it's like it's about being ego-driven and saying we are up here, you're down there. I did see a video with Kanye, bringing it back to Kanye. Donald Trump. Years ago, he was on like Jimmy Kimmel or one of those shows, and he was doing some concert. He was part of some concert that was raising money for malaria nets or something like that, for Africa. And Jimmy Kimmel asked him, like, oh, so what do you do with these nets? Or it might have been Dave Letterman or something like that. It's like, oh, what do you do with these nets? And he just like looked blankly at the camera and just went, oh, we got to get those nets. Because he didn't actually know like what the nets do to stop malaria. But he was just like, man, we got to get those nets. You're just like, man, he's got no idea
how
malaria works.
My favorite
mosquitoes work,
Yeah.
My favorite Kanye thing is he had one of his meltdowns in which he said that he had an idea for an invention that'll help the world, and he just needed $1 billion from Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
And the way he went about sourcing this is asking Mark Zuckerberg on Twitter.
That's quite the pitch. 140 characters.
To which everyone pointed out, would it not be more effective to ask Mark Zuckerberg on the social network platform he created, and not a rival?
Because he designed Facebook to make it harder to reach, like celebrities or people. It was meant to be closed off. I think Kanye was on something. I wouldn't know how to reach Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook.
Is Zuckerberg on Twitter?
Yes.
Well, there you go. Maybe he's like conceding that Twitter's the best platform.
Maybe.
You guys need to change your tune on Twitter.
We love Twitter. We're on it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Twitter is...
We're on it once a week.
Isn't Twitter like basically dead? The only thing that
it
is
is.
keeping Twitter alive is investors. But it actually doesn't make money.
Yeah,
It's just people thinking that it's so big, so they keep like investing money.
Yeah.
People keep buying shares in it, but it doesn't actually make any money. People are just hoping that one day it will.
The daily active users is declining on Twitter, and on Facebook as well, actually, and it's going way up on Instagram. Weirdly,
Yeah, and is it Snapchat? I don't know. I'm getting too old. You know, like all these things like that. Facebook is like the thing that's what my parents use.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like I'm in that category.
So Facebook.
Well, I am on Reddit.
In fact, they did a survey of people. I think it was under 30. In the last 12 months, over 40% of people under 30 had deleted the app off their phone.
Oh?
Facebook.
And it was all because of the whole like privacy thing or whatever. They're like, who cares? Like, let's get rid of it. I mean, Instagram's owned by Facebook.
Yeah,
I don't think they realize that, but it's interesting.
And
to
it's
see
doing
that.
the exact same thing.
Oh,
they're all doing it. Like
Absolutely.
Snapchat, WhatsApp. Actually, I'm not sure about WhatsApp.
It's probably doing it.
Is that Facebook?
The WhatsApp has tried to be more. Oh, it might have got bought out. Oh, I don't know. No, because I know that they do encrypted messaging, which is their thing.
Yeah.
Like their thing is meant to be way
Hey,
more about
we
privacy.
don't read your messages.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Unlike everybody else.
yeah. But I don't know where they get money for WhatsApp. And normally things that are free means that they are selling your data because that's how the world works.
Yeah.
It's like. But anyway, I feel like this is about to go off in a tangent.
Anyway, Kanye West.
Kanye West, am I right?
Those Kardashians.
Okay.
What do they like? Just say, what do they like? We don't watch it.
I don't.
Vapid, probably.
I do. It surprises me that Kim and Kanye are together because Kanye is just too insane. Like, there's not one person on the planet that thinks that everything that comes out of that guy's mouth is sane. Like, there can't be.
Yeah, maybe.
See, it's like he's Charlie Sheen 2.0.
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
going to start saying, I got tiger blood, and I don't know.
Well, see, I think even Charlie Sheen would think Kanye is sane.
I
Yeah,
agree.
that's
I
what you
think
know,
Charlie
you're
Sheen would be like, I mean, I know I'm doing coke.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you on?
Yeah.
Do you want to meet Kanye? I'm not meeting that guy. Crazy. My tiger blood can't. What's wrong with that?
All right, let's get into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This is by David Bicklin.
It's the lack of confidence when he reads that.
Because that's just a name, David Bicklin.
Yeah.
Okay, you pronounce this Bklyn.
Yeah, the thing is, no one else is reading that. Though. You're the only person reading it.
I know.
You could say David Blackman.
But
matter.
I tag people later, and then I just don't want,
right.
even though they probably wouldn't say anything. It's that I know that they would know that I did the wrong name, and it's a whole
their
thing.
fault for making it cryptic.
That is true. Actually, you deserve this, David Bicklin. If somebody is playing a drinking game while watching your life, when do they drink? And don't say boring things like breathing.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Or... Okay, no, do that. Keep going.
Okay, so it depends. Do I want to make them drunk or do I want to frustrate them? Because if I wanted to frustrate them, I could say you drink when I drink. Because in the last almost 20 weeks, I haven't been able to drink.
Okay.
So
It's
that
like
would
the
be
worst
really
drinking
frustrating.
game. People are like, this game sucks.
Yeah, every time, because I do these like challenges, every time I start one of those, they're like, oh, not again. That's another 8 weeks.
Okay, so you'd be good for
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Right.
that want to sometimes relapse.
Yeah, like every couple of months, there'll be a night.
Yeah. That would
Just so
be
they've
good.
got something to say at a meeting. So their meetings aren't boring.
I didn't want to, but Cambo, it was his birthday, so.
Yeah. But everybody else in the group was like, yeah, me too. I was watching cameras. Okay, how about if you wanted to get them drunk then?
I think when I watch a movie, because I have to watch a lot for work.
Okay.
That's about 4 times a week.
So what speed are they watching back your life story? Because if it's in real time, that's kind of slow.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like I have a drink a week.
I would imagine that a movie is a drinking session. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, so they drink
Maybe
for the entirety that you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
Do you say that's fine a lot during it? You're like, well, that's fine. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get you on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe when you're indifferent, because you're just indifferent to my comment then. So every time Gambo's indifferent, boom, you got a drink.
People would drink a lot. I'm indifferent to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Someone the other day was like, "You don't have opinions on things. Everything's just fine." I'm like, yeah, that's right. Like, again.
Too agreeable.
Yeah, that's true. I think, I'd be similar in the sense that if I wanted to get people to drink a lot, it would be like to put it in a particular scenario, maybe I'm having a day out with friends.
Sure.
And every time that a decision has to be made that I'm indifferent about, I don't care about what the outcome is, I think that's when they drink. Because and maybe also like you do an extra shot if it frustrates someone else that I haven't made a decision. I think that's
and then if that person really wants to get like crazy drunk, wait till you get a girlfriend.
Yeah,
and then every time you both can't make a decision about like where to eat or anything like that, that's double drink.
Yeah. No,
I don't know. What do you want to do? Every time you say that.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't care.
I don't have anything in mind.
Yeah. That you think that I don't have a girlfriend because I can't pick up, but it's by choice. I don't want to. It's the one choice I do make, so that I don't have to make many other choices.
Yeah, you don't want to destroy someone's life by them watching your movie one day and having to drink.
What about if it's every time you struggle to pronounce a Reddit reference?
Well, this was going to be what I led on to. What's the drinking game for the podcast?
Okay. Yeah, mispronouncing a name would be good.
I think if I say something like that's good.
A point that we should have edited but didn't.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Like, I think, like, the noise that the table makes when you pick up your phone and put down your phone, that kind of, like...
Yeah, that happens a lot. How about, Rob, when you listen to the show enough, what can you think?
I think borderline facts. Like WhatsApp. Like, is WhatsApp owned by Facebook?
Yeah.
Like, anything that's a borderline fact, it's like, well, that's it.
This show is pretty much just borderline facts.
Yeah.
Even the Today I Learns, I'm like, there's no fact checking.
Yeah.
Well, that's rule of the show.
Well,
that's right.
If Canberra hadn't have spoken about the 100-year-old film being an advert, that could have gone off in a whole different tangent about why they've done that. So that's the one rare time where there was a fact. Yeah. So, in fact, that's the opposite. If you don't want people to drink, when we do a fact we know 100%, then you drink.
Or is it every time you guys agree?
Yeah, we agree.
Because often you're in heated agreement. Mediocre agreement.
We do agree a lot. Apparently, that's great for a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
This is my opinion. That's also my opinion.
Yes. Let's move on.
Good.
Yeah, the podcast goes for over an hour frequently. Of us agreeing.
I think it's because we like to hear, you like to hear your point of view back to you again.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what we've done here is we've created an echo chamber.
You're not allowed to have pets in here, so you couldn't get like a talking parrot that just repeats stuff back to you. So you're like, I just need a roommate that you will just repeat stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe as a guest, I should be like more right wing or something.
Yeah,
just
play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I can be really nasty.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. At least.
Do you want to go back and defend Trump against all the things we just said?
Yeah, it's outrageous. Leave that guy alone. Oh man, the things he's doing for women, unbelievable.
No, doing to women.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Either way, are they happy about it? No.
Okay, here's another one. This is by Offended by Words. Simple name, easy to read. Mm-hmm. Just anyway.
That's a bit you should have edited.
Yeah, that's true. What was the cringiest thing you did in your first relationship? Or I will extend to
a relationship.
A relationship. Yeah.
There must be so many. I feel like any high school relationship is almost exclusively cringe, wouldn't it be? Because you think it's real, like, you know what I mean, like that you take it with any kind of form of seriousness.
Yeah,
like you got married.
That might also. Yeah. I mean, that might also be why the relationship didn't continue.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But okay. That's I have spoken about that already. But I didn't get married, Gab. I got engaged. There's a difference.
That's true.
Sorry.
Getting fake engaged and fake married is very different.
Yeah,
And fake pregnant? Wasn't she fake pregnant?
What is it? How is it a fake engagement? There was a ring and everything.
Was there?
Yeah, she got me mine first. Because you know how girls get the guy an engagement ring? Mm-hmm. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it can be. There's
entrapment.
nothing against it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's
there's
what I feel
nothing
like.
that says that can't be the way it happens.
It does happen. I've got friends that have done the proposal the other way around, where the woman has proposed to the man.
Yeah,
and it was real.
Well,
much like Nelson's.
Yeah.
yeah.
How is your fiance?
Not that I'm against that, but I think I needed to provide more context, so it didn't seem that I was sexist. So I was like, men have to propose to women. But it was more because that was like her sealing the deal on the engagement. Like, because I've now got you a ring, that means that this is definite.
Right.
Whereas, because how it happened was us talking, and she was like, oh, do you want to get married? And I was like, yeah, I want to get married to you. And she took that as... we are now engaged.
Right. So she took that as you getting down on one knee.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
She thought like there was none of that at all.
I've heard this story so many times, and every time I hear it, there's something I didn't know. I love it. It's the story that keeps on giving.
Well, it's still shocking, isn't it? Like, it's still like, really? This happened?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it wasn't until the next day that I found out what it meant because somebody else came up to me and was like, "Are you engaged with Jess?" And I was like, yep, I am. Because I was like, I don't know, I still loved her at the time. I was like, well, I'm not gonna back out of this now, I guess. And she really liked drama, can you tell?
Yeah. How old? You was in high school, right?
Yeah, I was in high school. So I was, I think I was like 16, 17.
Yeah, that's young.
Yeah. I think maybe 17, yeah. Anyway, and I remember another, actually, instance with the same girl. This was like one of the cringiest moments I think about looking back on it, was we had some, like, a fight for probably stupid reason or whatever. Probably because of her ex-boyfriend. That happened a lot.
Yeah.
And I decided that... she wasn't picking up my phone calls after a while, so I decided... what a great thing to do was to go to her house. Mm-hmm. But she lived in Glen Waverley.
Yeah.
And I lived in Ferntree Gully at the time.
Yeah, so it's like a 15-minute drive?
Yep. But if you're not driving, if it's really late at night...
Yeah.
It's,
if you're, say, I don't know, 16... I
think it's about an hour and a bit walk.
Right.
Yeah. Because... I was like, okay, I'm gonna see her. Didn't want to make up mom and dad or whatever. Just decided to walk there. Walked for a very long time, and finally got there. And I don't know what I expected to happen, but I ended up getting her attention somehow. And then her mum woke up, but her mum was actually really super nice about it. I think her mum thought it was like this charming romantic thing that I had done. Like, I'd walked all this way.
You were there being like, where's your bitch of a daughter?
And so I slept in their one of their rooms. She set up a bed for me, and I was still in my school uniform, so I just went to school the next day because she was lives very close. And for some reason I just thought that was a great idea, and it wasn't. Looking back on it,
I noticed you're not with her now.
Yeah.
She is not in this apartment where we live.
I didn't. Do you know why? It's because I set the bar so high.
Yeah,
she was we had an argument. You walk about 10 kilometers to see me. And then the next time it happened, I didn't walk that far. She's like, oh, well, the relationship's over.
I've got a question for you. Do you know where she lives now? Because you could walk there now and just go, remember that thing 15 years ago?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm 99% sure her parents still live in the same place.
So you still crash on their couch.
So I can still go over there. But she is she has a kid now, I think, and I think she's married to the guy who. So we broke up, and then I reckon about 6 months later, I see on Facebook a photo of a guy proposing to her.
6. Oh, okay, yeah.
So we would have been just out of high school. So I know it was like 17 in a relationship,
Yeah.
and then maybe like it must have been 17, 18, and then a little while later, outside of school, this guy's like proposed to. I'm like, oh my god, I know exactly what this guy's going through.
Well, joke's on her, Nelson. She might have a family and be happy.
Yeah.
We've got a podcast.
We've got a podcast.
That's what her mum said. What are your hopes, aspirations, Nelson? Well, one day I want to do a podcast for no money.
Yeah.
In fact, we pay for the hosting.
That's right.
It costs us money.
It costs us money.
I've got one for you.
Yeah.
So when I must have been about 16 or 17, I think, as well, and I broke up with a girl on Valentine's Day. And she gave me a copy of Morning Glory, which was Oasis's
What's the
big
story
hit
of
album.
Morning Glory?
Yeah.
And she gave me a little teddy bear that was holding a little miniature bottle of Kahlua. And I said, I don't think this is working. You should break up.
Did you keep the gifts?
Oh, yeah, I kept it.
Yeah,
I kept
it's
that
good
for
album.
ages.
Wait, did you have anything for her?
No.
Well, no, he had some news.
Yeah, I had to do. Right. She'd gone the superficial route and bought me material possessions.
Yeah.
I had something much deeper for her. But she took it very well. She was a really lovely girl, actually. But it wasn't really working. But I was just like, I didn't want to live a lie anymore, you know. So I was like, I can't fake it through like, you know, a Valentine's Day.
That's
thing.
true.
So
That's like the
my
worst
integrity.
part. I'm certain there's got to be a lot of breakups on Valentine's Day because the pressure just gets too much. Where you're like, this is, I don't like you, and now I have to pretend to really love you at this moment.
Yeah. It's the first point you got to up your game, really, in a relationship, isn't it? It's like one of those first major events.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dating for 3 months, Valentine's Day rolls around. It's like, well, I got to make a call here.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I was in a similar situation with my ex, and I broke up with her on New Year's Eve, which I think I mentioned on the show before. Yeah. And
that's a buzzkill.
That was it was probably always better to break up on Valentine's Day and I think New Year's, because it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year, doesn't it? People normally, you know, whatever their night was like that night is a representative of their year. Yeah.
You know what? You know how you should have done that is just before midnight or whatever. When she said, "Do you have a New Year's resolution?" I said, to be single.
Let's see if it comes true. Happy New Year.
10.
What do you know? It's true.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yep.
It's our new segment.
Yep.
Cambo?
Oh my God! I'm being podnapped. Podnapping.
I liked that.
Yeah, there you go.
That was
Pretty
good.
good.
I was like, what's going on? For a
So I do
second.
prefer Robcasting.
You prefer
Well,
Robcasting?
podnapping sounds like I'm having a snooze while I'm listening to your podcast, which does happen sometimes.
Well, see, it's a
hang on a sec.
double on.
Help me! I'm being... What was it? Robcasted! Robcasting.
Yeah, it's funny that he recorded both of those in advance.
Yeah,
He's had them both ready to go.
That's
It's amazing.
true. Just in case. Okay, fine. We'll call it Robcasting. God. I'm still going to call it podnapping in my head.
Well, who was it? Was it someone else that suggested Robcasting?
It was Hazim, yeah.
Hazim, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's better. Hazim. Shout out.
Well,
Fellow
whatever.
listener.
He's the only one, Hazim. Why don't you and Rowan go get married, okay?
And just to be clear, I'm indifferent.
And that's
Drink,
legal now,
drink.
too.
Oh!
We can get married. Legal.
Yeah.
Just like dope in Canada.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Canberra, I'm betting, I'm 98% sure you have not prepared for this.
What?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm saying what?
Because we were alternating weeks, remember? We do one a
But
fortnight.
I thought I was next week. Am I this week?
Well, I
For
did
some reason,
last
I
week.
thought I was next week.
I knew it.
No.
Did I not predict? I said I was 98% sure.
Yeah, no, legitimately. I actually thought it was Hazim's turn.
Yeah. Oh, well, like, I mean, we did say that.
Yeah.
No, it still would have been yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've miscalculated. Do you have one, though?
But, no, I think our scapegoat is sitting right next to us.
Yeah, gotcha.
Rowan, you listen to many podcasts. You said that you listen to philosophical podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be some great nugget of philosophical content. I mean, not to put you on the spot or anything.
That's right. Well, the main podcast I listen to is this one. Which means it's hard to steal from this podcast.
So if there's a
Should I
segment you
steal
thought that
something?
we could have done better, that you maybe had a point on that, you know, we could expand on.
Let's quickly run through 36 questions to make you hate us.
yeah, that's true.
That's tough because I mainly listen to audiobooks these days. So Tim Ferriss.
Okay, I will go.
Joe Rogan.
I'll go with the audiobook.
Yeah. That's a good one.
If there's anything, I'm trying to think of actually what I even listened to this week.
I mean, do you want to talk to the great audiobook scammer?
Yeah. Oh, hey, you downloaded a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah. What do you want to know about?
Well, what did you buy?
What were the last 12 audiobooks you downloaded?
I'm going to have to go through my head.
Or returned?
Obviously, I would never listen to them now that they're returned. I wouldn't do that. I got the Great Gatsby, as narrated by Jake Gyllenhaal, as we discussed.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
I also got The Picture of Dorian. I've been getting a lot of classics.
Sounds like it.
Picture of Dorian Gray. I got...
Don't you have the book?
Yes, yeah. So what I've been doing, because I've been reading... I was rereading the book, but then when I went to work, I would then just plug in the audiobook and continue.
Okay.
Yeah. I got Breakfast at Tiffany's.
This is very...
Yep.
Okay.
All the classics.
Yeah, well, they had a section
Right.
that was like the classics read by different celebrities. I was like, yeah, they all sound good. I'll get all those.
You know, when I was younger and my family went to New York, and
all right, Mr.
my mum was determined to get breakfast at Tiffany's.
Right.
And that doesn't exist.
No.
Well, at least I'm pretty sure my mum was so certain that, like, no, there must be a Tiffany's somewhere where you can get breakfast, because that's...
I mean, there's a Tiffany's in New York.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh no, we went to many Tiffany's. I think we went to like at least 3 Tiffany stores.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, do you do breakfast? And by the third one, we were like, hey,
surely they must get that a lot. People being like,
I don't
can
think
I have
so.
breakfast here?
I think
It's
we
the
were like
dad joke. It's like a dad joke.
Yeah.
Oh, like, where's the breakfast?
Yeah,
Oh, it's horrible.
I think we were like the Kanye West of their world. They were like, these insane people think you can get breakfast here. Did you?
I do have one actually that just popped in my head. It's not so much something you'd want to steal, but it sort of referenced what you spoke about last week, and it reminded me of something, which is I was trying to find other comedy podcasts because, you only do one a week and sometimes there's more hours.
No, don't listen to any others.
Yeah.
I was
Please don't.
looking through the charts, like looking for comedy podcasts and stuff, and I think it was an American one, and it was that real cliched, hey, we're being funny today. Fun. Hey, you know what's funnier than being funny? Being funny. Today we're going to be funny about being funny. And so bad. So you could steal some of that. You could just be like really cliched kind of funny.
We have talked about there's a subsection of Australian comedy podcasts as well that it almost sounds like audition tapes for like radio.
Yeah.
Like, well, Nouse, you're never going to believe it, but I bloody pulled a prank. But that's just not who we are fundamentally.
I know, but the crazy thing is that's what's
quite popular.
Far more popular. Like we've spoken this about it a few times, where we'll listen to something that quite a lot of people like.
Yeah. And
we both think it's utter rubbish because, like, how can people when people really try to be funny, I think is the worst. And
it's pop music. I mean, it's Donald Trump getting elected. It's appealing to the masses. It doesn't mean the masses are intelligent.
Yeah.
Just because people have.
To be fair, we're not an intelligent podcast.
Yeah.
We skeet around facts in the most flippant of ways.
That's true. And we inadvertently saying that we're a lot better than, than everyone.
I just wanted to make that real clear.
Only idiots don't listen to us.
Well, Q&A, actually, I was listening to, sort of watching-ish, I guess, because Q&A upload there. So for the American listeners out there or global listeners, Question and Answers is like an ABC show about politics and current events, right? And they have a thing like after the show that is immediately all about the show, like deconstructing it and fact checking it.
Oh,
right. And imagine if they had that for this. The show would be longer than this show.
Oh my god! It would
be like
you're welcome. I think you and Amanda would be good as a supplementary podcast to this. Yeah. Just going through, and Amanda's very good at picking us up on things. Just being like, okay. Yeah. Where do I begin?
Amanda does not follow the show rule of you can only fact check us.
I mean, it was very wise of you to institute that rule very early on. I mean, if you were doing that now and you had your back catalogue of 100 and whatever episodes, I mean, that would be heavy. You're getting a lot of emails. I just want to talk to you about some stuff here.
All right. Well, that was it for Robcasting.
Yep.
Camber, this does not excuse your week. Just so
that's fine. Because I actually have a segment in mind, but I need to find an example for the segment.
Okay, right, good. You just needed to do a bit of homework.
I must say the intro for that though was a cracker.
Yeah,
it was pretty good
compared to that. I wouldn't call it beatboxing. You know that thing you were doing
Oh, that
for
was
the other thing?
the boom, boom.
Oh, that was the most distracting thing I've ever heard.
Could you imagine
trying to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Would you like to see how hard it is?
no, I don't really. Okay. I'll tell you one fun fact about it, though, and Amanda, you can fact check us on this if you don't believe it. I heard a thing about if people are ever faking to be deaf, right, for like some sort of compensation claim or something like that.
Yep.
What they do is they put headphones on them and have a mic hooked up, and they make it play back what they're saying.
Yes.
A second after. Like
I've
really
tried
slight
that
delay.
before.
Yeah,
It's really hard.
and you can't sort of speak consistently because you're hearing this sort of echo.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you were doing to Nelson, even though it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like Nelson's like, and there was this thing, and there's this like boom, boom, boom. It was
Yeah.
like, it was like a really weird Cosby Show kind of.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Actually,
Controversial.
interesting thing about that is they did the same thing on. I was watching a Dota tournament once, and they had a sponsor which was like a headphone company, and so it was like little gimmick ad thing. They did that, but for the commentators.
Right.
And it was really interesting because there's generally, for gaming, an analyst and a shoutcaster, they call them. So the shoutcaster just says what's happening, basically,
right.
Who's doing what. So in a big team fight, there's one guy that they call him like a rap god because he's just very fast at calling what's happening. And then the analysts, are a little bit more laid back. They won't talk during the big fights. They'll say, oh, this person could be doing this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they did this challenge, the shoutcasters could actually... they essentially had to cast a game with this echo.
Yeah.
And the shoutcasters did fine.
Oh, really?
It wasn't interrupting them at all. They said they could kind of turn it on and off. Mm-hmm. Like if they wanted to listen to it and wanted to kind of stumble over it, they would listen a bit more. But if they were just so focused,
they could drown it out.
On casting the game, they could drown it out. And I
They
thought it
should
was
fake
really
being deaf
interesting.
for compensation.
They should, yeah. I'll write them an email. Okay. Anyway, let's get into the Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
We're listeners of the show, just like you, listener Rowan.
Oh.
Could write in and ask us anything you want. Rowan didn't write in this week. Pretty disappointing, if you ask me.
Yep. Lazy.
Yeah. Kemba?
Yeah, I go on here from Ahmed. It says, hello, gentlemen. This week I have discovered that I'm going to be a father. What advice do you have for me then in brackets? I know you're not parents, but there's a lot of things that you're not, and you still give your opinions, so what's the difference? Okay, geez, all right. I love the show. Keep it up, Ahmed.
That's the dig in there. I respect that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit below the belt.
The only thing you could have done to really show his fan is calls a dickhead.
Yeah,
It's just the one thing we demand.
Yeah, well, he's probably not a fan.
I think you can stay out of this one, Rowan.
Yeah,
we'll give you the
we
advice of being a father.
Got this
It's not that hard.
so
it's
easy.
fine. Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah.
If they're playing up, just give them a smack.
Yeah.
And if they're...
Teach them good Christian values.
Like what? Getting engaged at 16?
Getting engaged at 16.
Exactly.
Although no sex before marriage, I mean, you're on the
Obviously
right
not.
track, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I was like, I better lock this down. So I want to get into heaven, that's for sure. Actually, well, that's kind of a good point. Whether we would instill some sort of values on our kids based on experiences that we've had, because maybe if I had if my son or daughter said that they were engaged at the young age, they did, and I mean, I kind of kept it a secret from my family for a bit anyway because I was super embarrassed about it. But I think that maybe I'm more likely to say to that my son, like, you know what, I went through the same thing, and maybe you should just think about this a bit more and use a condom. And so Rowan, do you think, I mean, your kids are pretty young, I guess, at the moment, but do you ever think about that in terms of experiences you've had in your life so that you want to protect or warn your kids about, or at least give them advice on things before they get to that experience point?
Yeah, I got a bit of a philosophy on this, actually, and my wife doesn't exactly agree with it. She doesn't think it makes sense, but I think it makes sense.
Can I guess?
And yeah,
is it treat them mean, keep them keen?
Yeah. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I love you, Dad. Yeah, you're fine.
Exactly.
No, it's men are more superior than women. That's what and she doesn't quite agree with it, but I just say, get back in that kitchen.
Yeah.
And no, the philosophy is that, or the idea is that it's actually easy to be a bad parent and it's hard to be a good one. And that comes from that, which is that most of what we do in, I guess, a modern sense is we're constantly getting more information and learning how to do things better.
Yeah.
And I think parenting's the same, and there's a lot of really good books of which I've sort of bought and haven't read, but you know,
it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, that's right. Not a lot of audio.
Another one of your philosophies that you use for parenting.
But I mean,
buy the book, the information will go on eventually.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, it's like where you think about hitting kids and not hitting kids anymore. And I think what I see in that, you know, I've sort of tried to think through why people get really defensive about that. Oh, you know, my parents hit me and there's nothing wrong with me. But I think the reason people do that is they get defensive of their parents. It's basically saying, well, if you're saying that that's wrong, you're saying my parents were bad or whatever it might be.
And then therefore I'm not well-rounded or something because... That's reflective of that, yeah.
But I think that idea of sort of traditional parenting was very binary, you know, like it was very, the man is, you know, the man of the house, the woman's, you know, raising the kids and she's the kind of nurturing one, and, you know, the dad's the one that, oh, when your dad gets home, he'll give you the smack or whatever. And just that idea that really to deal with kids now, you know, when they're going through, you know, a really significant emotional journey, you know, psychological development, they're really just not developed. And so it's that idea about having to work a lot harder to work through things like a tantrum or if they're being difficult. And it's one of the hardest things, which is how do you not be frustrated when they do the wrong thing? Because sometimes they're just doing it because they don't understand things or they're just testing out their world.
Yeah.
And even when a little kid will challenge you on something, often they're doing that because they want you to assert without, you know, smacking them or whatever, but they want you to give them a degree of security by proving that you are in a position where you can, not so much dominance, but you're the security. You're going to be the rock for them. You know, if they can rattle you, if a 2-year-old or 3-year-old can really rattle you and do it all the time, they'll keep doing it. But what they're sort of doing is they're proving that, you know, you're not the right person for the job, or that they're, you know, they're going to have some issues with you or something. So I think for me, if you want to be a bad parent, it's really easy. You know, you give your kids junk food 7 days a week because that's easy. You leave them, you know, you put the TV on from when they're born and you just let them sit in front of the TV and vegetate until they die or whatever. But to be a good parent, I think it takes a lot of thought and a lot of effort, and it's not going to sometimes what seems instinctual, like, hey, you just hit another kid, well, I'll hit you and see what that feels like. You know, it's not about that. So that's my advice for the early childhood thing. You know, your kid getting engaged when they're 16. You know, if it's for the right reasons, I suppose. You know, I do know your parents, Nelson, and I got to say,
why? Because you're Cambo's cousin.
No, well, you guys obviously were very close from me. So I know both our parents, but yeah, I think you know, your parents in particular, they were much more like that. I think they were much more like the modern parents. Like, you know, I remember just a lot of the conversation and stuff. It was more about the kids being very much in, you know, that family unit, being very engaged and being part of that family, as opposed to having more like a child-parent relationship. It was much more of a connected, it seemed like much more connected relationship, and I think that speaks a lot for you and your siblings, despite the fact that some of them are a bit weird.
They used to beat us behind closed doors.
A lot.
But there you go.
I fell down the stairs again, Rowan. Don't worry about it.
But there you go, Ahmed. Probably the best answer we've ever given to an AMA, and all it took is for us not to give it.
It was
concise. You knew what you were talking about.
I'll call in each week. Anything on parenting. We'll have a parenting segment. That can be a new segment. That's Parenting 101.
That's true. I think I promised you a segment, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, you did, actually. On a whim. And then you immediately said, I don't know why I did that.
Okay, that was actually really good. I'm kind of annoyed now. You know how I set the bar really high by walking to that girl's place? You've set the bar.
You've just walked to Nelson's girlfriend's house.
It was the podcast equivalent. Okay, here's the last time. Well, this is a long episode. Okay, never mind. I think this is the last time you came on. It was a long episode too. Yeah, but stop talking. So
get people on that are really shy.
It's
like, how you going? Good.
That's the last you'll hear of them.
Do you want to sign off? Goodbye.
Okay, good. I like it. Okay. This is by Deb. Hey guys, I've been reading a lot on philosophy, particularly to do with oneself. I think it's interesting that we all have our own inner monologue to some degree. So my question to you is, do you ever talk to yourself? What about? Thanks, Deb.
I mean, yeah, internally, I think everyone talks to themselves. Like when you're working something out, essentially, you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't do it in that weird way like in the movie Venom when he talks to himself.
I didn't watch it.
He talks to himself a lot.
He mumbles a lot, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Tom Hardy. He's a great mumbler.
He's a good mumbler.
He's an actor I really want to like, but he mumbles a lot, that guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's like... I sometimes wonder this about people that have to put on the American accent a lot, and that's generally what they think it is. It's like, I can do American. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's kind of like a backhanded like dig at the Americans, because I think the same about Christian Bale. Just shouts a lot whenever he's an American.
Yeah.
You're like, is that what you think it is? Just shouting a lot? He's like, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to do it like an Irish accent, you just swear a lot in it.
Yeah.
It seems to help.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I think everyone kind of.
But do you... Okay, so... Because I think there is talking to yourself and then there's talking to yourself.
Yeah.
So do you,
Like,
do
you're
you
talking
ever
about
talk
full
to yourself...
sentences and stuff?
Well, do you ever talk to yourself out loud, for one, I think?
Probably only swearing. Like if something goes wrong.
You
shit.
just say shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not really talking to yourself. I
You know
think.
who
but
I've
it
been
kind of
talking to
is.
like that though? Siri. A bit.
Right. Okay.
You know why? Because on my headphones, it's got the inline
Yeah.
mic thing in the button, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a slightly harder press or whatever, it'll activate Siri. So I'll just be trying to pause my audiobook or restart it a lot of the times. I've paused it and I try and unpause it. And Siri will activate. And I just go, fuck off, Siri.
Yeah, I
Like,
get
and once she
Yeah.
did respond, and she's like, hey, that's not very nice. Speaking.
Fuck off, Siri. God, get the... Okay.
Gonna say. No, I'm just
Okay,
gonna
good,
say.
good.
Shut up, Siri. But yeah, and she was like, "Oh, that's not very nice." But you know, on Siri and about sort of inanimate things talking back to you,
Yeah.
is I noticed if I ask Siri to do something like put on a song, she'll tell me now playing such and such song by such and such band. I'm like, you could just put it on. I'm not looking for a dialogue.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
like
good
if
point.
I say put this song on, I want to hear that song.
I always took that as like confirmation to make sure they got it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's because the technology is unreliable.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think like the future of speaking to machines will be like it'll just happen. But at the moment they're like, I better double check this with you. Because,
that's what I mean.
Well, on parenting too, how's this? We were in the car the other day, and this is about modelling. You know, as a parent, you want to model manners to your children.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Siri in the car, and my wife said, "Please," like I should say "please" to Siri. Rather than
right.
say, "Hey Siri, put on this song." It's like you should say "please."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't want to start to use manners with artificial
Well,
intelligence.
see, that's the thing I do naturally. Because like I have like a little Google Home next to my bed,
Oh, yeah.
and whenever I ask it to set an alarm or whatever, and say alarm is set for this, I'm always like, oh cool, thanks, and then
Yeah,
and I
that's
suddenly realize
Yeah.
what I've done.
Although imagine what Terminator would have turned out like if you had to use manners.
Well, that's what
you
I'm
know.
thinking. Like, I don't know whether your wife is concerned about your children so much as she is concerned about AI taking over.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's right.
start the manners now. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yes, sir.
if they're listening back to the recording, oh, this guy was always nice to us. All right.
I do have a funny Siri story for you, which I might digress to, and then I do want to say something about the philosophy thing because you know we want to keep this going as long as we can.
Yeah.
I've had hits and misses with Siri, and I think you know if we really want to be worried about AI, I'm not too worried yet because Siri really does seem to have a lot of sensitivity.
Yeah.
So it was about 4 a.m. right,
Yeah.
and I got a phone call from a woman who I worked with, who works in Melbourne, our Melbourne office. So I
Yep.
work in Canberra, and she called me at like 4 a.m. right,
Yep.
and then I sort of missed the call. Like I woke up and the phone was going and I missed it. I'm just like, why would she be calling me? Like there'd be no reason to call me. And so I texted her the morning, like when I woke up later that morning.
Yeah.
And I just texted her and said, "Oh, did you call me?"
Yeah.
She said, "I'm on a road trip in Canada."
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey Siri, play the Sister Act Volume 2 soundtrack." And it said, "Calling Rowan's mobile."
What?
And called me from Canada. So I'm like, yeah, I think Siri's got some work to do to be
yeah,
accurate.
yeah.
Like, you know, apparently my name sounds a lot like the Sister Act Volume 2
Yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like,
in
oh,
a
that's
Canadian accent.
good. Yeah,
yeah.
well, maybe.
Yeah, and I reckon that's the thing, right? Because it's just about the computer's just recognizing the sound waves, right? So if things are just
yeah.
the sound waves are just similar, then I imagine you know that it's so easy to get wrong because we have a whole other thing that like lets us interpret language. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's a long way up before we get any good AI in that respect.
Back to the voice in your head sort of thing or the dialogue thing. I was reading something a little while ago through an audiobook, but I still say reading. Do you say reading? I read a book.
You do that
to sound smarter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read this book recently.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of where you trivialize something. Like people just don't need to know.
Yeah,
I read this book. Like you
I
don't
know,
know, but I listened to it, and then they go, oh.
That's true. I feel like if I ever say I listen to it, I don't ever say I read, but every time I do say I listen to this book, I feel like I have to kind of explain it like a little bit more. Like, oh, it's an audiobook. It's
it's almost like a shorthand, just to so you don't have to have that extra interaction. Like I listened to this. It was an audiobook, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like you just skip it and go, I read a book.
And then they go, can I borrow that book? It sounded really good.
Yeah.
No, why not?
Oh, I lost it.
Yeah, that's right.
See, if I say to people I read a book, it brings up more questions.
Yeah.
Like Nelson, you read a book? What is going on?
I've heard you trying to pronounce like usernames. I can't do that. How did you read a book? The inner voice, though, I was reading this book about it, and it talked about, like, it refers to it as the inner roommate, right? You know, that voice in your head or whatever.
Yeah.
But it talks about it when it's particularly negative, right? So I message Nelson and go, hey, can I come back on the podcast?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't reply, and my inner roommate starts going, oh, they didn't like you the first time. You did a horrible job, whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the things I thought was really interesting is that what it says is you never hold your inner roommate to account. So when you finally message me back and go, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't go, hey, inner roommate, you tend to be really glasses half empty and really negative. And I think for people psychologically, when they do get very negative about things, that can be that inner roommate, just running this dialogue in their head, you know, you're worthless, no one likes you, whatever.
Yeah.
But when things prove the opposite, you never hold it to account so that the next time that starts running, you don't go, hey, you know, I know that...
Last time.
Remember last time,
And I just thought that was an interesting way to reflect on it. Because what it talked about is that you shouldn't try and silence that voice. You should acknowledge the fact that it's not often right.
Yeah.
When it's being negative in particular. So, you know, unless everyone does hate you and then...
Well, that would be the worst, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You'd be like, you start being conscious of this inner monologue. Like, I'm going to hold you to account, and every time it's right. Oh God, I didn't think you were this 100% dead on.
Your strike rate is impressive.
That's right. And no one likes me.
I think the same. I was going to say, in terms of my sort of inner monologue or something that I'm not confident that everybody else does, or at least I think to the extent that I do, is I feel like I run through a lot of hypothetical situations in my head, and about like what I would say in this instance, and I don't think it's necessarily something that people don't do. I'm sure you guys do. You're right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, good. Take that.
What the hell are you talking about, Nelson?
Take that, roommate.
Lock your door tonight. It's crazy.
But I just sort of have this feeling that I do it more than other people, and I don't really have any proof to that. I just think that that's kind of I sort of believe that only because I think that I think of so many scenarios about what I'm going to talk about or what's going to happen that eventually one of those scenarios is like correct, and I'm like, well, I'm glad that I thought about that previously. And I think it's like this one weird kind of I don't know, inner monologue thing that I have, and I don't think it's ever to my detriment. Not like I'm not curling up in a ball thinking about every possible scenario in the world, but I don't know, just when I'm left like alone with my thoughts, I think that's where my mind goes.
Yeah. I just do the normal thing, whatever that is.
No inner voice.
Sometimes, whatever the normal amount of inner voice is, I have that.
Yeah. That makes me think you're far more likely to be a serial killer psychopath than anything else.
Don't think about it.
It's like one of those psych tests that's really badly written. Like, would you rather, you know, watch a nice movie or pull the wings off a fly?
Yeah.
Gambo's like, well, which one's the right answer? Whichever one the right answer is.
Exactly.
I did want to make a suggestion. I know we're probably going to wrap up. But I was going to make a suggestion to you guys about increasing your listenership.
Oh, okay.
Because you have talked about, you know, whether you guys should have kids, right? And I was thinking you could foster kids, just like have a bit of a revolving door of kids.
Okay.
As long as they listen to the podcast, right? So bang, extra listeners. But the other good thing about really little kids, they love big talk.
Oh,
because
that's true.
You know, like you meet adults. Oh, how's the weather? Oh, yeah, the weather's not too bad today. Like Zach the other day, who's my oldest, he was saying stuff like, "When's the universe going to end, Daddy?"
Oh, jeez.
And he's 5, and I'm like, "Oh, whew, that is pretty heavy." And today he said, "What's outside the universe?"
Yeah.
And I just went, what are you watching? Where are you getting this from?
Yeah, that's true. God, do drugs or something.
Well, the funny thing is, whenever you try and explain anything to a kid, it gets really heavy really quick.
Yeah.
Because, if you're like, don't do that, you'll hurt yourself. Well, why? Why would that hurt?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because you've got these nerve endings all over your body, and well, why do I have those? Or how do they work? And you go, well, I don't know. I've got to tap in.
Exactly. I always
Shows how little I know.
I remember when I was younger, I came up with the genius concept that you can never fully answer the question why, in the sense that you just keep drilling down into why do I have nerve endings? Why is that? Why does this? And then you get in. You probably get into evolution, and then where do people come from? Like. And I think it's funny because you're right. At some point, I remember trying this with my mum once, and she just got frustrated. And she's like, "Well, no, I've answered the why, and it was,
I feel like the Christians have come up with an answer, and that is the phrase, "Well, God works in mysterious ways." If there's anything, whenever you're like, "What? Why though?" Why do babies in Africa sometimes get born with AIDS? That's not a fair chance for them to live. Well, God works in mysterious ways. That's just they're out.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I got, actually, the other day, too, I also got what are atoms made of?
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know, but I feel like they could still make them smaller. Like, how is it that that's the small? I mean, they split an atom, atomic bombs, whatever, but it's like, surely you can still keep going.
You can still keep going.
Like, what about infinity?
Exactly.
But it's like a Tesla. What's an atom made of? I was like, there's an electron.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very heavy. So you'd love it. You had a kid on this show every week.
I don't think we'd love that. I think what's an atom? Oh God, you're the worst.
Although cycling a lot of children in and out of the apartment.
Yeah, that's true. I think that some of the neighbours might catch on to that a little bit.
Fostering children.
But I do like that idea because we get they then listen, and we obviously kick them out and they go to another foster home, but they still listen to us.
Word of mouth.
And then a lot of word of mouth builds. Hopefully they grow up and have kids themselves.
Put a cigarette out on. Who burnt you? Oh, these guys. Who are they? They record this podcast. What's the podcast? Tell me about it.
Yeah, we should.
They did it live on air. Have a listen, and then they're playing it in court as evidence.
Oh my!
Jury's got to listen to it.
So many ways to just expand our audience. I never heard about this.
So yeah, just food for thought.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're thinking about it. Thank you, because we're not.
No.
So first of all, thank you, Ahmed and Deb. Don't you dare. We finally got through those. I'm so glad we didn't start at the very first question for you to do that.
Yeah, that
But thank you, Ahmed and Deb, for writing into us. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, readitpodcast @gmail.com.
Yep, connected.
You can also reach us at Facebook.
Oh, that's also connected.
At Twitter.
That was disconnected.
It's dying.
Yeah.
And our subreddit. They're all READIT podcast. And we would like you to subscribe. And we also want you to rate us, but we don't want you to rate us until the 30th of October.
Correct.
Because we're trying to cheat the system.
Yes.
We just think that it would kind of be funny.
We found a loophole and we want to go through it.
Yeah, we want to explore this loophole as this podcast tends to like to do.
Yes.
Ron, thank you so much for coming on the show again.
No, thanks for having me again. It's great.
Yeah. It's really fun having you on. And okay, Cameron's still there. So we'll read you later.
Bye.